everyone. Good afternoon. I'm so happy that the next retreat will be in Ethiopia. No, I'm so excited to be here among so many passionate, smart, young leadership that enthusiastic to fixing the world, and not just the Jewish world, but the entire world. 2016, my daughter Shachar, she's now in the army, celebrated her bat mitzvah. And for this special occasion, my husband, who is from Polish background, and myself, we went at her to fill this north and east world that she has at home. So we built for her a year plan that every month we did something. First of women leadership, 1 month with this Savta, and one other month with the other Savta, and etc. And the highlight of this year plan, bat mitzvah year plan, was to take her to a road trip to Ethiopia. Mother and daughter trip to Ethiopia, just she and myself. And I built this plan. My mother thought that I'm crazy, that I'm taking her to Ethiopia. How come? But I know, she knew that I'm crazy. That wasn't that much surprise. We've been there 2 weeks. First, we said the first week was a road trip, and the other week, the second week, bat mitzvah. So we did also fun things. The first week, I decided to take her to Mereva, to the village where I was born, and where my parents and their grandparents were born and grew up in Ethiopia. From the closest town, city in Ethiopia to Mereva, we drove 4 hours. By jeep, just to be on the safe side, I took guide from Israel, local guide from Ethiopia, 2 soldiers, and 1 policeman. Okay. And we drove 4 hours. Beautiful view while we're driving, and the guide mentioned the names of the villages while driving, and suddenly I start to feel how all my childhood story coming up to my mind and to my remember, and I become so excited. And after 4 hours, finally we get to Mereva, beautiful village located in a valley surrounded by volcanic mountains in Ethiopia. But, and suddenly we were surrounded by dozens of Ethiopian kids and elders that, I couldn't see them a few minutes ago. And, so excited. And we also were so excited. And I'm standing there, Shachar on the right side of mine, and the other guys on the other side. And I'm watching this beautiful view. The Agosh River, the river that all my childhood story based on, was in front of us. And the villages and nature life. I'm standing there with my daughter. And so many questions that have come up to my mind. First, I asked myself, I'm almost 40 years in Israel, Western way of life. I looked at this beautiful view, and I said, wow. Why my parents live this beautiful way of life? In Hebrew, we say frayerim. Why you left this beautiful way of life? How much I'm paying today to get this a picture from the living room in Israel. And secondly, I tried to look, right and left to see how they decided which way would lead them to Jerusalem. I said, it's valley located by volcanic mountains. Crazy. No, there's not a very clear path that this is the way to Jerusalem. No, I checked. There's no. And then, finally, I even dared to ask myself, what for? What for? They wait there 2,000 years. Why they didn't wait another few years until the airplane will come to the village and take them from there? And my parents paid this price that they lost one of their kids on the way, on this journey to Jerusalem. And all this question was in my mind and bothered me during the 2 weeks that we've been there. And the first Shabbat after we arrived to Israel, we spent Shabbat, I went to my mother, I say my mother because my father died year and a half after we arrived to Israel. We went to spend the first Shabbat after we will be back with my mother. And I told her that she thinks that I'm crazy. So I felt that I must open this question with her. And during the Shabbat breakfast, and while she's serving us and bringing the food, I asked her, I said, Mom, listen, I've been there in Merava with Shachar. Beautiful place, beautiful nature and people that were so kind and welcomed us. But why? Why you left this this beautiful village? And why you didn't wait there another few years? And I told her, you see, I took there as I told you, 2 soldiers, 1 policeman, local guide. It was to be on the safe side. So how you dare to endanger my life and my siblings' life and start this crazy journey? And in a very arrogant way, I've even tell, you see, and you lost it, you paid the price. You lost one of your child on the way. And then she looked at me. She put the pot that she held aside. I don't know if she was angry or surprised by my question. She looked at me and said, what do you think? Why we lived in Ethiopia? What for we lived in Ethiopia? You think that we didn't know that it might be dangerous? That we might lose one of our family members on the way? But hey, she said, we went there 1,000 years, 100 years, to fulfill the dream of Jerusalem. So when we heard that there is a way to fulfill this dream, even to let it the tiny chance to fulfill this dream, it wasn't a question of if we're going to start this journey. It was how we are going to start this journey. We didn't live in Ethiopia to get better life or to be more rich than we were. But this is our in Hebrew we say Ye'ud, our destiny, our mission in life. So how we could miss this opportunity, even it was only rumor to fulfill this dream. And for me, believe me, Chevre, this was the first time. I was almost 40 years old with 4 kids. The first time in my life that I understood my parents' story. The first time in my life to understood through them and through my very simple but so deep answer of my mother to understand the Beta Israel, the Ethiopian community Jewish story. Why? What the first time? First, I think literally I feel like stomach ache by this answer of my mother. Because I tell myself, a bit modesty won't hurt you, okay? So there's something that I think that I understood only in this moment. At that moment that my mother answered me this question, this answer. Until this moment, I was grown up. Again, I was only for almost 40 years, as I told you, old, and I was so involved in the Israeli social arena. But the first time, all my life, I grew up to a society, a narrative that's saying, if my mother doesn't speak the Hebrew, and if my mother doesn't know the Western world culture, so she doesn't have nothing to contribute to me. I need to look after other leaders outside there to be like, or to learn from. But at this moment, when my mother answered me this question, I understood that my ambitions to be so involved in the Israeli social arena, to do what I'm doing, to lead social actions, it doesn't start from this university or that university, from this leadership program or that leadership program. It started in Merava. My parents didn't wait there until it will be easier to go to Jerusalem. At the moment they heard that there is a little chance, they were so proactive to fulfill this dream, to control their life, and not to wait until someone else will help them or do the work for them. So it also brought me to think, so if this was my parents' dream, if this was my parents' Jerusalem, so what is this Jerusalem in my life? what this Jerusalem that I will be like ready to endanger my kids' life. And if ever will I have this kind of life, like vision life, like my parents. My parents was visionary way before like Herzl and others, but I didn't like understand in this powerful way until this moment. And I invite each one of you to think, so what is this Jerusalem for you? And I think one of the beautiful example to illustrate this vision of life, vision's life, is the Sigal holiday. The Sigal holiday that we'll celebrate this Thursday is the Ethiopian Jews traditional holiday that's celebrated 50 days after Yom Kippur. And Sig, by the way, the Hebrew word of Sig meaning skidah, meaning worship or prostration. And 50 days after Yom Kippur, the Ethiopian Jews used to count and celebrate and mention it as a communal Yom Kippur. And it has origin in the Ezra ben Nehemiah's time after the first temple, and they like based on this holiday. And this holiday, every year, 50 days after Yom Kippur, the whole community in Ethiopia, the Beta Israel, dressed white, like in Yom Kippur, climbed to the top of the mountain, the closest mountain, and prayed to reunite with their brothers and sisters in Jerusalem. What a beautiful way of life, of like thinking about like reunite, and to think that this is, and at the end of the day, they bless each other, B'shana haba b'Yerushalayim. And this, as I said, this last Friday, I held a open hour with our shlichim, just to give them tools on how to practice this holiday and implement this holiday in their communities. And I invited them to ask very tough questions. It is like your safe environment. And one of them asked such a beautiful question, said, Sigal, regardless to this, like your personal connection to this holiday, why should I mention this in community? How am I like, connecting this to our activity on ground here with our communities? First, I answered her. I thank her for the question. First, I said, Sigal holiday illustrates the most like Jewish values of again reunite and tikkun olam and to be together and etc. And I said, without my story, without the Ethiopian Jewish story, the Israeli society story and the Jewish world story wasn't complete. Without your story, my story wasn't like complete. So we need to like to make sure that we're including all our parts story in order to make it like our whole story complete, to include the whole component. And second, you know, maybe some of you might ask, so if the dream came true and the Ethiopian community came to Israel and they are in Israel, so why we keep celebrating the Sigal holiday? I mean, we should say Toda La'el, thank you, and that's it. Yeah? But the Ethiopian community believes that under like the Jewish values of arvut hadadit, of mutual responsibility, yes, our dream came true, but there are many Jews around the world that want to fulfill this Jerusalem dream, and they hadn't this chance from many reasons, so we need to pray for them, okay? So I think this is, again, another way how this holiday illustrate or reflect one of the Jewish values. So, and it's like, as I said, back many years of Jewish origins. So I invited you to celebrate this or mention in this way or that way this holiday this Thursday, and tomorrow we will have a webinar of mentioning and celebrating this holiday, and you are welcome to join us. Thank you.